Thanks for taking the time to take a quick look at Teamcenter to see the power of visual collaboration. Over the next 10 minutes, you're going to see how Teamcenter visualization uses the power of the ISO standard JT file to leverage a digital twin to collaborate with digital prototypes and resolve design issues early and reduce or even eliminate the need for expensive physical prototypes. And with Teamcenter visualization, you're just one click away from virtual reality with no data staging needed. You don't need a dedicated and expensive room to collaborate in an immersive environment. You can use any one of the wide range of supported VR headsets. Let's take a look.
So in this example, you could be anybody in the enterprise, so it does not matter. So the industry standard ISO certified JT format brings visualization to your desktop without any client installation. So allow you to help participate in that development process early and often throughout the life cycle. And don't forget, also one click away from virtual reality. So if you use multiple CAD systems, so the JT format allows you to easily visualize all the data together to make informed decisions and help catch issues early with the full functional or design reviews. So this drill here on the screen, not necessarily all designed in one CAD system. Different sub-assemblies could be designed in different CAD systems. We can bring it together and visualize it in a common format. So you can come through and take precise measurements. Maybe it helps give you a better idea of different aspects of the part or the assembly. If you want to verify the distance between some holes for an issue you're investigating, or you want to check the clearance between two parts for a tooling decision you need to make, or a design review that you're part of. So you can very easily come through and interrogate the model. You can also come through and capture sections. So you may want to come through and cut a section through there to see how all those parts go together, or to get a better idea of how this product works and how it's assembled together. So possibilities are kind of limitless with this. So the visualization capabilities of Teamcenter help extended team members of your enterprise. I mentioned this earlier, sales and marketing and manufacturing, partners and suppliers to participate in your development process early and often without that cost, complexity, or training typically associated with a CAD system, and obviously without having to make physical prototypes of parts. Now the JT file isn't just geometry, so it's also attribute and PMI, so product manufacturing information, and being able to see some of the GD&T information and dimensioning, finish symbols, weld symbols, and so forth. So those can be embedded inside the JT file as well. And those can be used even for further downstream inspection processes. Let the CMM tool read some of the PMI information to generate the CMM path. So being able to capture information is important as well. So if you need to communicate with others across your enterprise, you can mark up and add annotation to communicate that information as part of design review. So if you see something that needs to be looked at, you can easily start an issue or a problem resolution with just a couple clicks. So Teamcenter automatically attaches that data directly to the issue. So in this example here, you're going to come through and make a markup. Maybe there's some assessment that you've done that you're concerned about the serviceability of the PC board. So maybe it's going to be very difficult to service this particular component. So you're going to come through and make a markup and communicate that to some of the users and say, hey, there's an issue here. We need to come through and look at it, and let's resolve it. So Teamcenter is automatically going to attach that data directly to the issue. You can also attach additional supporting information like the markup, maybe even some studies that you've done, and you can submit it into a workflow process to help begin that resolution process. So it's not just being able to visualize the data, it's being able to do something with it as well. Hey, you're looking at the issue, or you're looking at some data, you found an issue, you want to start a resolution process against this. Whether it be issue resolution or a problem report or a change request, you may have different resolution processes within your company. You can very easily come through and do that. All right, another example. So these are 3 short clips. They're going to show visualization being used inside the CAD system. So although you're a CAD designer, visualization still can play a role with you. So in the first example here, you're a designer inside NX, and you've opened up the assembly to see what it looks like in Teamcenter. And you'll see that as you pick components inside the visualization window, it actually highlights inside NX. So there's cross-probing between there. So as you interact with the model inside Teamcenter, it also interacts with that model inside NX as well. I'll continue that. So maybe you want to go through, turn off the component, look at that gearbox assembly, which also highlights that inside NX. And I said these are short clips. Here's another example. You're a solid edge designer, and you need to come through and find a part that you can add to your design. So you want to reuse a part as opposed to making a new part. Well, you're going to go through and search Teamcenter for a fan. So maybe it's a cooling fan that you need to add. And there's several results here. There's about 6 results that you can choose from. And you want to investigate maybe why you choose one fan choice over the other fan choice. Well, with Teamcenter, you can come through, open it up, view property information, but you can also leverage that JT file to come through and view the part without even having it added to your CAD design yet. So now a simple part may not take too long to load, but as you get larger and larger assemblies, it's a lot easier to view visualization data than it is to have to open the data up inside the CAD system, let the file transfer across the network, and so forth. You can just view it inside Teamcenter, let it come through, show you what the part looks like, as you saw before, measurements, sections, and so forth, and then you can make your design decision to add it inside your CAD design. Now, these Teamcenter works inside all the CAD systems. You may have seen a previous webinar that we've done. So this visualization, if you're using a CAD system, we have an integration for NX, Solid Edge, SolidWorks, Creo, CATIA, Inventor, and so forth. You can come through and do the same exact capability. Now, here's another example. This is leveraging Teamcenter visualization. And this is not maybe the best demo from a graphical standpoint, but I think once you hear the story, I think you'll see that it makes sense. In this example, there's some wire connectors on the screen for particular, in this case, a car, a vehicle. And you're doing a study to find usage of a particular material. So maybe there's a material that is a hazardous material and you can't have a certain amount of it, maybe based upon the region of the world that you're selling it to. There's different regulations in Europe versus America versus Asia Pacific. And you want to come through and find, well, where is the use of this material? Do we use this material in our components? And if so, do we exceed that threshold? And so leveraging some of the visual reporting of visualization. So there can be different attributes that are captured inside the JT file. One of those could be weight. And so you can come through and start running reports that says, well, let's go use some of those attributes and use this to make some design decisions. And against this entire assembly, regardless of where these parts came from, show me any part that exceeds a certain threshold, which in this case is 1 gram or greater of this particular material. And those will come through and you can color code those to display on the screen. And so this is leveraging weight, but you could do the same exact thing. You can have your product on the screen and say, well, how many of these parts are released? How many of these are still work in process? How many of these involved in a change or from a supplier standpoint? So what's the supplier distribution of these particular components across this product? So you can use some of that to get visual graphical reports as opposed to just text-based descriptions. So in this example, you found a couple components that exceed that threshold. And so now you're just going to come through and view that just on its own so you can further investigate it. There's that particular connector. And once again, it's not just viewing the data, it's taking action against it. So now you can directly take some action against it and investigate reduce usage of that particular material. So maybe a weight reduction study that you're going to go through and do on this.
Now let's look at VR.
So this is a fairly simple example here. So this is just using the visualization capabilities like you would today. You could spin this around on the screen, or you can come through and put yourself in that environment. So using those VR headsets and come through and maybe take some sections or some measurements or move some parts around to assemble or disassemble. And in this example here, you're just seeing what it would look like to disassemble those particular components to make sure from a serviceability standpoint that you can get that part out of there very easily without obviously running into other parts. I'm sure you've seen pictures or videos of sometimes the ridiculous amount of parts that need to be removed just to do some simple repairs. Well, design for serviceability can come through and help eliminate those types of things. All right, so that's a fairly simple example, along with the example that you saw as I was talking about VR. Well, let's look a little more complex. So in this example, Teamcenter visualization can also support immersive design reviews for packaging and styling. So leveraging that JET file with enhanced materials and behaviors from the concept desktop module. So you can do reach and vision studies while interacting with a virtual prototype on a 1-to-1 scale. And you can use Jack and Jill mannequins so studies can review it immersively, make sure that they can actually perform that task without injuring themselves or without being able to damage the product and so forth. Behaviors and snapshots can be used to animate parts and jump to different scenarios in the design review. Or parts and tools can be moved around, so allowing users to simulate those manufacturing operations or to tear down on the model. So that collaboration even allows multiple VR users to participate in the design review, whether it's just on your desktop or remote locations. Or some companies have specific rooms set up just for this type of immersive design.
Thanks again for watching. You just saw how you can leverage the digital twin with Teamcenter visualization to resolve design issues faster, leading to reducing or eliminating physical prototypes. And you're just one click away from an immersive virtual reality environment. See more at siemens.com/impact of PLM.